you ready to start a podcast, Ron?
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, hello and welcome to Learning the Law, a podcast about all things legal with a focus on current events, where we try to teach you things in an hour.
Yep.
Doing the podcast. I thought it'd be fun to do the announcer voice. Anyway, my name is Ashley, aka Phoenix Nymphy, and my co-host, who is the man of the hour, and the man of my life, my husband Ron.
Hello.
This podcast is purely educational. It should not be taken as legal advice. This podcast does not create an attorney-client relationship. This podcast is based on our interpretation of relevant law, and any opinions expressed are the opinions of the individual making them and do not reflect the opinions of any firm, company, or other individuals. Ron is a licensed practicing attorney in the state of California.
Yes, I am. And have been since last century.
We are now officially on Patreon. Please consider supporting the podcast through there. You can find it at patreon.com/learningthelaw. Thank you for all of our patrons. If you would like to sponsor the podcast, please email us at twolazydogsmedia@gmail.com. We would love your money. It could go a long ways for us. For more content from us, please check out my TikTok, where we read the newspaper and talk about the stuff that's in the newspaper that we never get to talk about on the podcast, just because of, there's a lot of topics, and we're only one podcast once a week, and we are an hour. There's only so much. But we do appreciate all of your support, all of you for being here. So, it's been a week.
Yeah, it's been quite a week.
It's been it has been a major week since we were last here. And it's not even been a full 7 days, y'all. It's not even been a full 7 days, because we did it on Wednesday last week, not Tuesday, if you think about it. Not even a full 7 days. And we're on the brink of World War III. Texas is pulling its crap. And, life's just going to shit.
I can't disagree with you.
But I've actually had a lot of discussions with a lot of people this week, who don't understand the situation in Ukraine and Russia. While we are not a news podcast, we are an educational podcast. If anybody is interested and would like to know more just from an educational standpoint, we could absolutely make a special podcast where we go over the history between Ukraine and Russia and the USSR, and why, and bring us up to date to here. If you would like that can just be a bonus episode for this month. Just let us know if you would like that. But that's not what we are here today to talk about. We are here to talk about Texas. Again, I know it seems like we talk about Texas a lot on this podcast.
We do.
They're doing a lot. Side note, because I have ADHD and this is just how my brain works, squirrel. But tangentially, Texas, because of Texas's abortion law, we already have 15 other states that are trying to adopt the same thing, including one. I believe the latest is Oklahoma, which is a state where a lot of women were going to get their help since the law changed in Texas. And I don't remember the next one. But yeah, they're already starting to adopt similar things, because our Supreme Court and our Congress is doing nothing. The Congress that's another thing. So real quick, cloture. I need to understand, did you see this? How Joe Manchin did not vote for cloture on Roe v. Wade?
I did not see that.
Okay. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Or do I need to give you more information?
Yeah, I didn't know Roe v. Wade was up for a vote. So, yeah, more information.
So I don't know. I don't understand it. So that's why I was kind of hoping you had more information. But I do think that kind of that's important. And it kind of goes along with what we're talking about here with the abuse laws. Just because Texas is a crapshoot right now. But at the end of this podcast, we will also leave you with some resources and some charities, some very viable charities. If anybody would like to try to help out, we will wrap up the podcast for anyone who wants to try to help Texas out right now.
Okay. I will say that cloture is when there's a vote to stop debate and vote on some actual legislation in the Senate.
That's what I read. So it seems the Democrats are trying to do that for Roe v. Wade.
They must be trying to introduce legislation to make it law.
And Joe Manchin and another Democrat, basically the corporate Democrats, voted against it. All they had 2 votes. They only needed all of the Democrats to vote. And
right.
The 2 that always don't.
I am very suspicious of their running as Democrats.
Yeah, it's a money thing. I bet it's because a vacancy was open at one point in their career. And so the only way for them to move up was to switch over.
And this is opinion, my feeling, upcoming elections, some Democrats need to run as Republicans.
Like leftists should run for Republicans so they can sneak in there and screw up.
Exactly.
Yeah. We need infiltrated. We need people to infiltrate the Republican Party to flip it.
Talk the talk, get elected, and then don't walk the walk.
So back to the topic on hand, Texas and how shitty it is. So if you are living under a rock and you are not listening to anything in the States right now, Texas Attorney General has, and I didn't look up his name because I didn't give a crap. I don't give a shit who the Texas Attorney General is right now.
You may want to.
Because he has well, you know what? Actually, we should know. We need to know his name so that we can make sure he gets voted out. That's a valid point.
Abbott was the previous Attorney General. And now he's governor.
Okay. You know what? Yes, you're right. Usually I am of the opinion if you don't give something a name, especially when it comes to like people who like assaulters and stuff like that are deliberately I don't like giving a name to the bad guy because I don't want them to be famous. You know what I mean? It's
right.
That whole concept of like not naming mass shooters, you know, and serial rapists and serial killers and stuff.
I would agree with you for those, but you're not going to be voting for those people for office.
Generally speaking, yes. But I'm pretty sure there's no way that there's never been. Well, I would say generally yes, but then look at, he was appointed. Never mind. Brett Kavanaugh.
Well, and there have been child molesters.
Yeah.
Voted into office.
So there are some. Yeah. So anyway, so what is his name? Can you tell me?
Ken Paxton.
Okay, so Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of the state of Texas, he wrote an opinion piece about how gender affirming healthcare is child abuse.
Correct.
So for people who don't know what gender affirming healthcare is, it is when a child expresses to their parents that they are not the gender they were born. They don't feel the gender that they were born. They feel they are either trans, non-binary, or bi gender. There's a lot of terms for it, but they basically express, I don't feel what I was born, which is a valid thing and is something that does exist because trans lives matter. And so there are therapies for people to transition. And a lot of that includes hormone therapy, hormone blockers, it's a science. It's a medical science. Like, it's a fully fledged, legitimate sector of the medical field. You have doctors and nurses who dedicate their lives to this.
I don't know if they actually do the reassignment surgery before 18.
It is.
I'm not sure.
Body modification surgeries are very rarely done to children. Body modification surgery is something that is it's just not done, right? So you cannot force a child to have a body. That would be abuse. Force a child having body modification surgery and the parent forcing them to have it. That would be abuse, right? But again, these parents are not forcing these kids to do this, because there's therapy, there's mental health therapy that goes along with these with these this healthcare. It's a whole thing. And according to the Attorney State General, that's considered abuse, which I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds like a parent who listens to their child and loves them enough to take them to a doctor and get health care to help them figure out who they are and help them feel better and be healthy. And that sounds like what a parent should do.
There's a whole reason why the Attorney General came out with this opinion. Would you like to hear it?
I don't, but go ahead.
In June or July, this was brought before the Texas State Senate to legally change the definition of abuse. It was Senate Bill 1646, and it was voted down. And in a interview later, it could have been a podcast, I'm not sure, Governor Abbott said he had a way to work around this legislation being voted down.
You kidding me?
No.
Are you kidding me?
No. And then you all of a sudden, the attorney...
He is that twiddling evil villain, that twiddles his thumb or twiddles his mustache. Yeah, in the old westerns.
Snidely Whiplash.
Yes. That's Greg Abbott. That's all I picture.
Yeah. I believe they're also having an election coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so let's vote Greg Abbott out.
So this was his way of getting some extra votes, theoretically.
We'll see.
Yeah, so he reached out to his attorney general friend, who was, since he was the previous attorney general, so that I'm sure they know each other really well.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, he gets this opinion, and then he directs the Department of Family Protective Services, which is a statewide department, I guess, in Texas, as opposed to some other states that have county protective services. to start investigating transgender youth. I have no words for that.
I don't understand why, other than, well, we know that back in the summer, last summer, they said that trans youth cannot participate in sports, which honestly, let's be real, all sports could be co-ed. Even football could be co-ed. So I think that's a bullshit reason to exclude trans kids. It's because these are people who are scared of what they don't know. They don't understand it. And so they want to ignore it and pretend that it doesn't exist. And it's because, I mean, remember, it was illegal to be gay in the 20s and 30s and 40s. You know,
right.
It wasn't to be gay was not, I think sodomy is still illegal in some states, but they don't prosecute, you know, and when they say sodomy, they mean gay.
They do, but they don't, to get a little detail, they don't understand that blowjob, fellatio, could be considered sodomy, even if it's male-female.
Yeah.
So sometimes when they learn that, they kind of vote those laws out.
Yeah. A lot of the laws that they put in place also harm heteronormative relationships. But that's neither here nor there. Well, I guess it kind of is. I mean, but this is this type of law, because they can't be overtly racist anymore, right? Although they're trying, but it's still cool to hate on the LGBT people, basically.
Right. There is no current state that still has same-sex illegality.
Yeah.
Because of a case coming out of Georgia, Bowers v. Hardwick, 1986, where they were giving 20 years for sodomy charges.
Yeah.
And so the Supreme Court said, nope, can't do that. The law does not differentiate between homosexual sodomy and heterosexual sodomy. So, done. Of course, the current Supreme Court can always go back and change that.
Yeah, because they sure as shit don't want to talk or think or do anything for the abortion law. So it would be on par.
Yeah, if they're going to go back and change the laws according to their religious beliefs, anything is up for grabs with this court.
Right. And I want to remind people that Ron and I both are actually religious. We both believe in God. We both believe that you should not be basing your laws off of the Bible. Because one, not everybody believes the same way. And two, every religion is different. But there is one overarching thing in all religions, which is don't be an asshole. That's it. That's it. That's the one theme that goes through all religions. Yet all religions seem to neglect that. So, except for maybe Buddhism. But I'm sure there are asshole Buddhists out there. Which just feels so opposite, you know. But I digress.
It's hard to be Zen if you're an asshole.
Right. It's hard to be zen and angry because, I mean, yeah. But the point being is we consider ourselves Christian. It's not something that we don't go around saying, yeah, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. You should be saved. No. I cussed out a Jehovah's Witness for calling me on my personal cell phone the other day because they randomly got my number because now they're buying numbers and calling people instead of showing up at their house and knocking on the door. They're just calling random phone numbers now. So
I'm going to qualify this, at least for myself. Current Christian evangelicism is not Christianity.
No, it's not.
Boom.
And I realize we're getting off topic.
We're very off topic.
We're very off topic. I have steered us away. I apologize for that. But basically, we do not agree with these laws because they are so hateful and hurtful. Like, I cannot understand. Anyway.
So the first thing I think you need to know is, like we said, they tried to change it in the legislature.
Yeah.
It failed. So what they've done now is they've given this opinion. This opinion doesn't change anything in Texas law.
No, it doesn't. What they're trying to do is set up more parameters in which to they're trying to set up more parameters to add to the law, I guess, is the best way to say it. But a lot of prosecutors have already come out and said, we're not investigating this. We're not going to follow through with this. And they don't have to. They legally do not have to pursue this opinion. And
right.
Anyway, and neither does the Department of Family and Housing Services.
Family and Protective Services.
Services. They don't have to either. Because it's
but I'm sure he has friends there.
Oh, I'm sure. But it's an opinion piece, right? And it's a waste of resources. But I digress. So, but
I was going to say something and the train has left the building.
I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you. You were talking about what it does, what his opinion actually do.
Right. What you got with American government is three powers. Executive power, that's the governor. Judicial power, that's the courts. And legislative power.
Mm-hmm.
They're all separate. What the governor is trying to do in this case is not only executive power, it's legislative power. He doesn't have the power to do it.
Yeah.
And that is part of the ACLU lawsuit to stop the governor from doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
There's a separation of powers cause of action in there.
Yeah. So,
but we'll get to that in a little bit.
I think what is in the Texas abuse law currently? What does Texas's current law state?
Okay. Texas's current abuse law is section 261.001 of their family code.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite extensive. It includes, and this is their definition of abuse. It includes mental or emotional injury to a child that results in observable and material impairment in child's growth, development, or psychological functioning. That can be awfully broad.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's just like 13 things right off the top. 2, if you're causing or permitting the child to be in a situation in which the child sustains a mental or emotional injury that results in an observable and material impairment in the child's growth, development, or psychological functioning. That's also very broad. It can be something as simple as you take them out trick-or-treating and he gets scared by somebody in a Freddy mask
Yeah.
and no longer wants to trick or treat the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You know, also very broad. Next, a physical injury that results in substantial harm to the child or the genuine threat of substantial harm from physical injury to the child, including an injury that is at variance with the history or explanation given and excluding an accident or reasonable discipline by a parent, guardian, etc.
Yeah.
So, spanking, not abuse. I would probably say that they're switching in Texas. They wouldn't consider it an abuse.
Hey, I just want to put this out there. Spanking your child is abuse. And it's really hard for a lot of millennials to accept that because we were raised by boomers and that's what they did to punish you. That's a very like spanking is a generational thing, but it's abuse. I broke down when I finally accepted that about myself because I was also spanked as a child. It doesn't mean
As was I.
That doesn't mean that our parents are bad people. They're not. They're doing what they knew to do. They're doing the best that they could have done. You accepting that spanking is an abuse doesn't mean that you're saying your parents are terrible people. It's you saying, I'm not going to do that to my kids. That's all. It's that simple. But spanking is abuse, and it's been considered abuse by the mental health community and experts for decades now.
Okay. The next one, definition 4, is also, these are so broad. Failure to make a reasonable effort to prevent an action by another person that results in physical injury that results in substantial harm to the child.
What?
Yeah. If you...
What does that mean?
If someone else hurts your kid and you don't make a reasonable effort to prevent it, you've abused your child.
Okay, so a kid who decides to punch my child on the playground in front of me, it's my fault? No.
Yep.
No, that's not how that works.
Anything beyond that first punch, you may not have reasonably been able to stop that first punch, but you're then expected to, break it up before the second punch.
Well, I mean, I think as a parent, you naturally would go in and be like, whoa, 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 what are you doing to my kid? You know what I mean?
You would. What happens if it on a football field?
Well, it's going to take, if you can't get in there to stop it,
right.
Before. Well, I mean,
youth hockey.
Yeah.
I mean,
I see what you're saying.
I mean, it sounds good on its face, but there are situations that it would cover that I would not consider to be abuse.
I mean, a lot of laws are broad for that reason. I mean, Texas, if you look at the Texas abortion law, it's also broad for that reason.
Yeah.
They want it to be subjective so that they can justify their racism and misogyny. And their racism, misogyny, and bigotry. That's it. That's the reason why these laws are, that's all I had to say.
Oh, okay. Now, the next ones all seem to be about sexual conduct harmful to a child.
They do get pretty descriptive there.
They do. I'm not going to go into the...
Yeah, let's not, please.
But 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
They cover pretty much they do. I will give them
12.
that. The sexual section of the child abuse is very well covered.
Yeah. And pretty detailed,
Yeah.
unlike the other sections we've just discussed. And then there's section 13. Forcing or coercing a child to enter into a marriage.
Yeah, I would say that's abuse.
Okay.
It's been done.
Now, that is the current abuse definition.
Yeah.
What was going to change was they were going to do 14 and 15.
So they were going to add to it.
They were going to add to it. And 14 was going to say the administering or supplying or consenting to or assisting in the administration of a supply of a puberty suppression prescription drug or cross-sex hormone to a child other than an intersex child for the purpose of gender transitioning or gender reassignment.
Are they talking about children that are born with both male and female when they say intersex?
That was, yes, that's the exception to the way they're going to change it.
Because they can see the f***ness. So that's okay, right? Like, and I say that sarcastically because that's how they think. It's up that you don't want to be what you were born. But like, because that's a tangible thing, you can see, oh, okay, well, I get why they want to transition to a particular thing, right? Like that's in their minds why they can justify the hate towards trans youth and trans people. Because
right. And then, yeah,
how you feel and your mental capacity and like your brain, everything that has to do with your brain, that's not something you can see. So it's not tangible. Just like with pain, it's not tangible. So just walk it off, like
it's not even objective.
Right. So, and
I swear to God, when
people are afraid of what they can't see.
Yeah, that's true. When the doctor says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad does it hurt? Are you serious?
Oh, that was also the whole scale thing, the pain scale thing.
A 3 to you, maybe an 8 to me.
By the way, the pain scale thing,
yeah,
was created by Big Pharma.
Okay.
Did you know that? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. I believe it was Adam Ruins Everything is who taught me that. And just for the record, you are not
Adam.
Hey, for the record, you are not up if you're a trans person. You are not if you're intersex. You are not up. You are not up.
Nope, not at all. 15?
Yes.
Performing or consenting to the performance of surgery or another medical procedure on a child other than an intersex child for the purpose of gender transitioning or gender reassignment.
Basically, gender reassignment surgeries, which are very, very rarely done on children under 18. Very rarely. Like, it's a very low statistic. So there's no reason for that to even be there. So since that got turned down, that's what his opinion addressed, were those two particular things, correct?
Yes.
So what does that mean for trans youth in Texas and their families? What does this mean? What exactly can come from this opinion piece and Greg Abbott telling prosecutors and the Department of Family and Protective Services to they've actually said to start looking for that abuse. Like he straight up said, I want you to look for these types of abuses, as if these types of abuses are worse than any other child abuse, right? Which they're not. They're not even, it's one, it's not even child abuse, but two, there's real child abuse happening that you need to be already looking for.
Right, and I'm sure if you asked him about other what he considers to be abuse, he'd just say, "Oh, we're eliminating it, like the rapists." How's that going?
Right? That's not how that works.
Idiot. Basically, what another an effect of this is going to be the suppression or the chilling of any speech concerning it, and trying to drive trans youth underground again.
Yeah. I read an article about a young woman who was having panic attacks every day before she started her transition. And her mom drives like an hour or something just to get her to a doctor who will see her and go give her, like, doing all the thing that they need to do. And when her mother started doing that, like her anxiety went away and it gave her peace. Yeah. And now the panic attacks have started again because she's so afraid of she's so afraid of being torn away from her parents who love her. Who love her, Ron. Her parents love her and want her to be in their lives. Do you know how many children are thrown out of their homes daily because they are part of the LGBTQ community? These are parents who accept
and they have nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's child abuse.
Not according to Texas law. But I agree with you. I got to say this. I've read studies where it says that the 40% of the trans youth in America have attempted suicide.
Yes.
That is a statistic that the powers that be in Texas don't want to change.
Yeah.
They have such hate filled in them that they would rather trans youth just kill themselves than to flourish. And then they will call themselves Christian.
Mm-hmm.
That pisses me off. Okay, I got that out.
And one of the things about suppressing the talk and pushing people underground, that's when you get hurt. That's when people get hurt. That's when you get beat up. That's when you lose lives. That statistic will go up.
Oh, yeah.
It won't stay the same. It will go up. The ACLU is suing to stop the law because it's abhorrent. Would you like to go into detail about what ACLU and Lambda Legal are doing, which are two legal firms, two law firms that's what the ACLU does. They go,
The ACLU protects, and I know people are going to say, no, it doesn't. It protects everybody's constitutional rights.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It doesn't matter. Left wing, right wing. If the Constitution is being violated, the ACLU will step in. And if you don't believe me, think about the Nazi parade in the middle of Skokie, I believe it was Illinois. The ACLU had to step in and say, Nazis have a right to have a parade.
Yeah, as much as you don't like it, they
That's
have the right to do it.
that is not the liberal biased union that many conservatives want you to believe the ACLU is. They step in both ways.
The reason why you see them stepping into more leftist stuff is because, well, that's the side that's got the most marginalized people. So that's the side that actually gets screwed the most with the Constitution.
I mean, I'm going to make an analogy that was made in another situation, but the fire department will help anybody. It just happens to be the marginalized people's houses that are on fire. Fire department doesn't have to go to your house if it's not burning down.
There you go. I like it. So, and Lambda Legal specifies in, I believe they specialize in LGBTQI constitutional rights, correct?
Correct.
Because we met them with
the
HRC when we went to one of the Pride events in Atlanta, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were there. They had a table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I remember you were thinking about possibly volunteering to work there.
Yes.
So that's why they are working together on this. So you said before the podcast, you said this might be a little bit long. I'm looking at the time and I'm realizing this is going to be longer than an hour. We won't go over an hour and a half, but we're going to need a little bit extra time to really talk about this. Because it's clearly important to both of us.
This petition for a temporary restraining order, a temporary injunction, a permanent injunction, and request for relief is 68 pages. Even if we went a minute a page, we'd have another hour in front of us.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, like, we're only about halfway through our notes, and I actually want to get this all in one podcast. I don't want to separate. I don't want to split the podcast up.
It's over 200 paragraphs. So we'll get into this. And I won't do my usual deep dive.
No, we just want to kind of get an overview of what they're doing. But it's really, really, really detailed, which is that common for it to be that detailed? Or is this just...
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. The more detailed you are in your complaints and requests, the better it is.
Oh, so the more likely the court will...
For example, if I sue you and I say you damaged me and I don't give any details, the other side's going to file a demur and say he didn't detail his lawsuit well enough. I don't understand what it is and I can't defend it. I can't defend myself.
Right.
So the court says, you're going to have to go back and amend it. And it just goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That's one of the things insurance defense companies do.
Ew.
Yep.
Okay. Now I understand why your last job sucked so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, can we? I just had an idea.
Oh, dear. Okay.
I'm writing it down because this is an off podcast idea.
Okay. But you got this preliminary statement in this motion where they detail the Texas legislature failing to pass it and governor's attempt to go around it. And then in section 2, you have the parties. And the representative parties in this they don't release any names for this. for confidentiality: John Doe, Jane Doe, and Mary Doe. Mary is the minor. She's been diagnosed with gender dysphoria and is currently receiving medically necessary care for the treatment of it.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother, Jane Doe, is an employee of the Department of Family Protective Services.
Wait, so
in
they
Texas.
have an actual person?
Yeah.
So, okay, obviously they're not naming this family because
Right. You have to have somebody.
in order to okay.
Otherwise, they're going to say it's a moot point. No one's been damaged.
Okay, so you have someone who works for the Department of Okay, all right, keep going. This is like a drama. This is fascinating.
Dun, dun.
Law and Order. Dun dun.
Yeah, the defendant is Greg Abbott, and being sued in his official capacity only, not personally, but just as the governor. You have Jamie Masters, the commissioner of the Department of Family Protective Services, being sued in her official capacity, and then the department itself being sued as a state agency.
Can she lose her job with the government over this?
No.
They cannot retaliate on her.
No, because, and this is my belief, and I am 95% sure, this is not an elected position. This is an appointed position, so she probably serves at the pleasure of the governor.
No. I mean, I don't mean the defendant. I mean,
you mean Jane Doe?
Works. Yeah, Jane Doe. Could she lose her job?
Possibly, yes.
Wow.
Texas does not have any protections in discrimination against gender identity.
Okay.
They do for sexual orientation, believe it or not. That surprised me. But not for gender identity.
What? I am okay.
Yeah. So there are protections, for example, for male homosexuals, female homosexuals, but not for anyone who's transgender. And therefore, she can be terminated. I think there'd be a lawsuit there. I think a jury in Texas may even find in her favor.
I think you're still confused as to what I'm asking. The mom that works.
Yeah, Jane Doe.
Yes, the mom that works at the city, the government business. Could she lose her job? She is a female heterosexual.
Yeah.
Could she lose her job?
Yeah, she could lose her job.
That's what I'm asking, because she's suing,
what I'm saying is
she's suing her boss is what's happening right now.
Yeah.
For forcing her to basically, because it sounds to me what she's doing is she's suing them for forcing her to call herself a child abuser and to remove her own child out of the house.
Right. She's already under investigation.
Yeah. So, yeah.
What I'm saying is, if her child was just a female homosexual,
right,
and she sued on behalf of defending her minor,
yeah,
she would not be able to lose her job.
So she would keep her job.
That is a protected class.
Oh, but okay. I think I was I was not understanding what you were trying to tell me. Thank you.
Yeah. So if, for example, there was just her minor was a female homosexual,
right,
and she did get fired, she would have an action, in court herself.
So she's risking her job.
She is risking her job. She may. I haven't seen anything. She may have already been fired, suspended, terminated. I don't know.
But That's okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so
in summary, the other thing you need to know is that opinion says that procedures could constitute child abuse,
not does.
not does. They're calling it the Paxton opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And the latest that the commissioner said was there is no pending investigations of child abuse involving the procedures described in that opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, for John, Jane, and Mary Doe, they are being investigated. So there we have that.
I did see that several prosecutors have come out and said they're not going to do this. They're not going to follow this opinion. It's just an opinion,
Right.
and they don't have to. And neither do the people who work at the Department of Family and Child Protective Services, which I know I've said multiple times, but I think it still stands for repeating. You don't have to do this. This is an opinion. It's an opinion. It's not law.
And as you get more into it, there are responses from various organizations to the abuse. This is part of the injunction and the damage it can do. And you've got the National Association of Social Workers, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Texas Pediatric Society, the Endocrine Society, the president of the American Psychological Association. And it continues.
There's a bunch of experts coming out saying this opinion is not a good one.
Right.
It's
and how much damage it will do in and of itself.
It's a very ill-informed opinion.
The next section. Treatment for gender dysphoria is well established and medically necessary. And then they go into why and all the organizations where this has been found to be true in their studies, amongst which is the American Psychiatric Association.
Yeah.
And then after that, you have, there is a lot of there's a lot of medical expert opinion in the next 100 paragraphs.
They are the experts. That's who I would go to. Because, I mean, there is so much research and so, it's a thing. Trans people exist. Trans lives matter. They are still people. And
right.
Okay. I used to think that gender and sex went hand in hand. Like what you were assigned at birth is like what was in your pants, what was in your body, what your body looked like is who you are. And I was like, it's biological, right? But then I actually did research into it, and it's not that simple. Like, it's not binary. It's really not. Gender's not binary. There's so many ways that your biology can, looking at DNA code and stuff like that.
The next section talks about the legal status of treatment for gender dysphoria in the U.S. Simply stated, no state in this country considers such treatment a form of child abuse. No state in the country prohibits this treatment. And the only state that was able to even pass a law prohibiting such treatment was Arkansas. And it was stopped by the courts before it ever went into effect and did not classify the treatment as a form of child abuse.
Yep.
So then it gets into who the plaintiffs are, goes into some little detail about John Jane and Mary Doe, and
Mhm.
the history of her um, feeling that she is trans, and it started a long time before the current situation. Now they get to the causes of action, and this is down around page 27. They want a declaratory relief under the Texas Administrative Procedure Act by all plaintiffs against defendant, commissioners, and the DFPS. Essentially, that means they want Texas to say that the commissioner and the DFPS cannot investigate trans youth.
Yeah.
They want to enjoin the governor and the commissioner.
What does that mean again? Enjoin?
Stop. They want to stop them permanently. Like an
Oh.
injunction.
Wait. Enjoin and injunction are basically
The same kind of effect. Yeah.
Why would you? Okay. I guess they just want to use fancy.
Enjoin is that's a verb, and injunction is a noun.
Gotcha.
They want to stop the governor and the commissioner from doing any further actions like this.
Oh, enjoin is just basically the verb form of injunction.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
They're stating that they've exceeded their authority.
Oh, absolutely.
Then it gets into the separate powers claim. The governor and the commissioner are not part of the legislative branch.
Yeah.
The legislative branch are the ones that pass laws. Governors can't pass laws by themselves.
Right.
And so since the legislature has already voted this down, it's not up to the governor to, quote, enforce it anyway.
Isn't their case against them on the abortion law also similar in that regard, that they are aren't they using that same argument as part of their argument for that, because they are overreaching
in a different sense. They're not overreaching because the legislature in Texas would have never voted down an abortion.
No. What I mean is because I remember us talking about the law enforcement and how it removes that. It basically removes one of the three forms of government and puts it in the hands of people. So it's like Texas's government is trying to do things it's not supposed to do. What?
Correct.
What? So yeah, I just find that those two cases, I'm just seeing the comparisons. Yeah. That's all.
Just next cause.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
I was just noting. All I was saying was I was just noting comparisons. And I love that they both have to do with forcing someone to do something because they don't like it.
Next cause of action, deprivation of parental rights, due process claim. You're basically, without any kind of appeal procedure, taking kids out of homes and depriving parents of their rights as parents.
Yeah.
And, they list all the code sections and case law.
Right.
Next, after that, the violation of the guarantee of equal rights and equal equality under the law. So that's of the Texas Constitution, by the way, they're not quoting anything of the U.S. Constitution. They're quoting Texas's Constitution themselves.
I think we kind of get an idea of what this suit is saying. I think we've gotten the general sense of what this suit is saying. I don't think we need to continue. Unless there's something that you can.
Not really.
There's something else you see that needs to be.
No, that's basically the end of it too.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Because I was like, we need to move. I would like to move forward now.
Yeah, I was going through as fast as I could.
Oh, I know. So we get an idea of what this lawsuit is claiming, rightfully so. I mean, it's accurate. All of these things are true. And hopefully they can get an injunction and have them stop, the departments that are pursuing what the opinion stated, getting them to stop, because, there will be people who are going to do it. Let's talk about this last thing, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap up the podcast. Okay. Using misinformation.
Yeah, that's shouldn't be a surprise. That is now the standard operating procedure of the GOP.
Yeah.
The Star Telegram from Fort Worth, Texas, has fact-checked the Attorney General's reasoning behind his opinion. And they have just said he is citing sources in a misleading way and drawing parallels that researchers say simply do not exist.
Yeah. That's like, according to this article, he used a study from 2011 of talking a study that found that transgender people who have undergone gender affirmation surgery have worse mental health outcomes than the general population. But they didn't respond when they reached out. But her team cautioned against using the study to conclude that gender affirming surgery is problematic because they did not compare mental outcomes of people before and after having the surgery. So it's not a full. It's not a study that was really fully completed.
Right. Not only that, there's another researcher that said the Attorney General Paxton distorted her work in such a way that she was mortified her research was included in the opinion.
Yeah. I'm not surprised to see that they are misquoting and, being general shit. So I think the final question, which is the title of the podcast, are trans youth safe in Texas?
No,
they're not. And if you can leave, please get out. But we know that's easier said than done.
If you can't, you need these people out of office.
Yeah. And you have an election coming up soon. So you need to make sure to get rid of them. Make sure to I don't care how you do it, but get to the polls. Call a friend you ain't talked to in 10 years and ask them if they got a car.
Yeah, carpool if you can.
Yeah, carpool. Y'all, if you have to spend all day in line and you can't make it to work, you can't make it to work. You can't get fired for it. They cannot fire you for that. You cannot lose your job for voting. Right.
If you don't have a car, I would public transit, hopefully, or the thought comes to me, you can rent a truck at Home Depot
for $20.
For $20, get a bunch of friends, rent a truck, go to the poll.
And if I'd thought about it before this podcast, I know in Georgia, Stacey Abrams set up charter buses to go to the polls, to get people to the polls. So see if there's any people locally in Texas doing that. I will definitely check. You know what? I will write that down. I'll start posting stuff. If I see anybody who's doing anything like that, I will tweet it from the Twitter, from Learning the Law's Twitter.
Check with the ACLU too.
Yeah, check with the ACLU. Make sure to vote because you are unsafe. You are not safe right now. But there are people who are there to help. And I'm sure the Trevor Project will do something during poll time. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, which is a charity for trans people in general, and specifically trans youth. It's a well-known charity. I've done charity events for them in the past. They have a 24/7 crisis line. If you feel that you need to talk to somebody, you can always call 1-866-488-7386. Suicidepreventionlifeline.org is also there. 1-800-273-8277. And in some places, you can just dial 988 and get access to them. 3 digits, 988. And by July 16th this year, that will be across the United States. If you dial 988, you can talk to somebody and get help.
I have a correction. The Suicide Prevention Lifeline, the 800 number, 1-800-273-8255.
Did I say it wrong?
You said 77.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
It's okay.
800-273-8255. Yes.
Yeah.
And Player versus Hunger is a food insecurity charity. And we just sponsored Real Women of Gaming this past weekend that's what we raised money. We raised $500 for Player versus Charity, but I'm talking about them now because they are actually based out of Texas. And we heard from the leader herself talking about it. And how they're specifically gearing up to help trans youths and their families. Her name is Fluffy Pancakes on Twitter. Sylvie Dow is her name. It's a food insecurity is food insecurity is a problem in our country, and this is a wonderful charity that gets people from the gaming industry to play video games and raise money to help children and families across the United States. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization. So there are and it's based out of Texas, and they are going to help trans youths and families. So if you need help, there are resources. And all we can say is, we love you, we support you, and trans lives matter.
Yes. Very much so.
Thank you so much for listening to Learning the Law. If you like this podcast and you want to hear more, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share in all your favorite places. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Learning the Law. Ron at Necrokijo, that's NECROKIJO, and me at Phoenix Nymphy. If you have any questions, please tweet, comment, or email us at twolazydogsmedia@gmail.com. And as always, this has been a Two Lazy Dogs production.
Bye, everyone.